Friends, look what I've just harvested. It's nearly December. And we've been skiing, but yet, the snow is melted and still green and verdant is this beautiful thyme. Our oregano too, our chives, our sage, still going strong. And I'm just so in awe of the tenacity and healing as well as deliciousness of thyme. And yes, this is live Q&A, by the way, so jump on in and don't be shy. And before I tell you a little bit more about why I love thyme, I would love to share with you this beautiful quote. I love to begin and end all our live Q&As with a story, song, quote, something to ground us in our time together. And this morning, some words from the wise and wonderful Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is really why I made my daughter's garden, so they would always have a mother long after I am gone to love them. Once again, this is really why I made my daughter's garden, so they would always have a mother long after I am gone to love them. Robin Wall Kimmerer is an incredible indigenous scientist, and if you haven't already read her Braiding Sweetgrass book, it is time. And it is time to talk about thyme. I would love to share with you a few of the little things that send shivers down my spine about thyme. So first and foremost, she's incredible medicine as well as incredible food, and she has been incredible medicine and food for our human ancestors for millennia. The ancient Egyptians, of course, shared thyme for supper, but also embalmed their dead, humans as well as cats and other sacred things in thyme. One of the main compounds that they were using in their embalmment. And the Greeks, they would use incense of thyme to invoke and inspire courage. They also would bathe in thyme for pleasure as well as for healing. Thyme is incredibly antiseptic and antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory. And so, yes, don't hesitate. If you have oceans of thyme like this, it's time to take a bath. You won't be sad about it. And also, thymol, Thymol, the essential oil of thyme, is still an impressively important compound in our world. It's the main ingredient in Listerine. So whether we're talking about ancient humans thousands of years ago and how they were using thyme medicinally as a healing herb, we are still today in our industrial civilization committed to thyme as medicine in our lives as well, which I just love. So thyme is really easy to grow. It's incredibly tenacious, a perennial. Our dear friends in Alaska are growing thyme and it survives their winters. The key is for them to be well drained. If they are wet and wet rooted, they are not going to survive. But if it's dry, they can hack it on just about any mountaintop, even in Alaska. Molly has a question. Good morning. Thank you for always being so encouraging. And what flowers, herbs would you suggest for anxiety? Maybe a tea or tincture I could make. What are your favorites right now? Oh my gosh, so many. So yes, adaptogens are the class of herbs, of compounds that help our bodies adapt to stress. Adaptogens are amazing. They help us, lift up or just ramp down, however our bodies need to readjust, however our nervous systems need to recalibrate. They are here for us. So holy basil, Tulsi, is one of my key go-tos. Tulsi basil is incredible. It's totally different genus species than classic like Genovese basil. Think pesto, totally different, but really delicious and incredibly adaptogenic. Also ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an incredible Indian herb. India as in subcontinent Indian, and it's super easy to grow. And right now I'm harvesting the beautiful roots of ashwagandha and making a tincture out of it. So it's often thought of as female ginseng or feminine ginseng, where ginseng is very masculine in its intensity, and it's an incredible healing herb for sure. But you want to take ginseng in doses not daily. It's not a tonic. It's like, you want to up level right now, here's your ginseng. Ashwagandha, on the other hand, you can take every day, and it's just a really gentle, beautifully like just tonic herb rather than a like acute herb. So other adaptogens that I love, there's a wonderful vervain and also skullcap and also chamomile. So specifically nervine and adaptogen, that vervain is amazing, and really just helping calming our nervous systems. And where I just can't, even though it's not an adaptogen, chamomile is so deeply calming, and lemon verbena, lemon balm, milky oats are some of my go-to for just like, I think of them as where like the big adaptogens are like very strongly being like, nervous system, calm down. Where chamomile is just kind of like putting a polish on, or really fine sandpaper to take off those rough edges. So that's how I think of some go-to adaptogens in my life. And thank you for inspiring me. I'm going to make a whole blog post about this because it's so important. And also, if you don't already know, Suntrap Botanical, Geraldine, she's just outside Ithaca, and she has so many incredible herbs. Especially her combinations of herbs are just so juicy, yummy, and I enjoy. I make a lot of my own tinctures, but if I am going to purchase tinctures, I go to Geraldine at Suntrap Botanical. That's Suntrap. Check out her website for the full story of why Suntrap is such a beautiful invocation there as well. So thanks for asking, Molly, and I hope that you find some of these medicinal herbs in your life. And yeah, this is live Q&A, by the way, so jump on in and don't be shy. I love curious gardeners are the best gardeners, and good seeds are like good questions, and they just make more of themselves. And yeah, so thyme, I wanted to mention too, if you want to be propagating thyme, there's lots of easy ways to propagate them. And certainly you can propagate by seed, and we at Fruition, we have organic seeds to share with you. By seed is actually one of the most challenging ways to start thyme. And, they're just really tiny seeds, and they take a couple weeks to germinate generally. The mini soil blockers go a long way in making them easy to germinate, and also heat mats go a long way too. But you can also propagate by simply cuttings, and you can also propagate by shovel. So by roots being divided. You can just come along with a shovel. If you have a friend, hello, nice to meet you. Come hang out in spring. And we can just, slice this thyme in half, or any proportion that you like. And you can just replant half the plant, and the other half remaining is going to continue to grow and thrive as well. So that's by far the easiest. But you can also take a cutting of this thyme and check it out. You want to be at the part that regrows quickest is the new growth. So take a look. There's kind of a main stem here, and that's a little more brown. And as it gets older, it genuinely looks woody. And the younger growth, it often has a more purple stem, and there's side shoots of that main stem. And that younger growth can very easily turn into a new thyme plant. And so you want to put that in water, take off the leaves, and put that in water for 2-3 days, ideally with a sprig of willow. And so willow, remarkably, has adapted across the millennia to, survive in riparian, the edges of streams, marshes, and rivers. And so every piece of that woody willow will regenerate roots, whether it's the root itself or even a bit of branch will generate roots when in water. So the most easy, wonderful way to get rooting hormones organically in your life, you can certainly purchase them, but why purchase them when you can just get a tiny, even few inch sprig of a willow branch, put it in the water along with whatever you're hoping to root, and that will encourage rooting on that other plant as well as the willow. So not all plants will root, of course, but if something like thyme, oregano, if it wants to naturally be rooting anyway, it won't hold back. So that's my hot little tip for propagating thyme this morning. And Anna says, good morning, dear Petra. In Chile, we're ending the spring, early summer, so thinking of tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers, and so on. Kisses and hugs from Chile, always watching your videos. Oh my gosh! Anna, that's amazing. Sending huge love to Chile, and oh my gosh, enjoy every moment of the summer to come. And we will be thinking of you as we don our skis and harvest more thyme in the dead of our northern winter. And perhaps we'll get to visit your farm one day, and I can't wait. And if you're ever here, know you're always welcome on our farm as well. And Lee, good morning, Lee. Lee asks, in coastal South Carolina, Zone 7, what winter veggies could I plant? Spinach, don't hold back. Spinach is going to thrive for you. And also anything that's relatively cold hardy. So think Swiss chard, think radish, think kale. Also, it's a very unusual green, but it's my favorite. Claytonia. Claytonia is spelled Claytonia. Claytonia. And it's actually a native green that is so delicious. It's like bright mineral spinach. It's so succulent, and I just love it. Has a texture very, more similar to spinach than, say, to lettuce. It's incredible, and it's incredibly cold hardy, and it only wants to grow in the cooler temperatures. So yes, Claytonia is totally your go-to. Other fun things that you can grow in the cooler weather in South Carolina over the winter. Oh man, don't be shy. If you love cilantro, I love you too. And if you don't love cilantro, I love you too. It's okay, no matter what gene you have for thinking cilantro is delicious or not. Cilantro loves to grow in the winter. And you have enough light and enough warmth so that cilantro will actually grow. For us here in Zone 5, here in the Finger Lakes, we are eating cilantro all the time, but we needed to establish it in September. But it's going to actually overwinter for us, and that's one of the many things that we're selecting for. So yes, I highly recommend throwing some cilantro in the ground. And turnips, I love those little white sweet salad turnips as well. And I would go for some winter hardy lettuce as well. We have our winter density lettuce that we're eating under row cover, but honestly, it's going to thrive for you and just be fine for you over the winter in South Carolina. So winter density lettuce and other kinds of cold hardy lettuces are your go-tos. So there's just a few ideas for you, Lee, and let me know what you sow. And Jean says, good morning from East Aurora, sending love over those hills to East Aurora. And Allison says, hi, Petra. I'd love to grow leaf lettuce inside over the winter in Zone 5B for the first time. Do you have any suggestions? Yes, I highly suggest that you jump into our blogs as well as our online course. It's totally free, How to Grow Your Own Microgreens, and that has tons of awesome info. And so growing leaf lettuce inside over the winter, let's talk. And there's so much more in our blogs and in our online course, but here's the nutshell, or perhaps the baby leaf of the lettuce. So you can grow microgreens so easily indoors over the winter. Baby leaf lettuce is kind of next level. It's not going to thrive unless you have a serious grow light. And we have serious grow lights, both 17-inch grow lights and 33-inch grow lights on our website, fruitionseeds.com. But unless you have really good grow lights, you're not going to grow good greens indoors over the winter, especially if you're here, above the Mason-Dixon line. We just don't have the hours of light in the day to actually furnish robust plant growth. So no matter how sunny your south-facing window is, there isn't enough light in the day to be allowing these plants really healthy, vigorous growth. So if you have a grow light, on the other hand, you've got options. So don't think unless you have a serious grow light, think microgreens and also think sprouts. And even if you are just growing microgreens, they grow so much better with those, with a real grow light as well. And even in a sunny south-facing window, they're going to be leaning toward the window and just stressed for light. It's true. So those are my suggestions. And sprouts are amazing. You don't need any light to grow sprouts, so I can't recommend enough. Whether it's alfalfa, sunflower, bean sprouts, I love growing sprouts. They're so easy, and if you don't want to invest in serious grow lights, I don't blame you. Really good ones are really expensive, and even though you'll have them for the rest of your life, it's a big investment. So yes, those are my recommendations, and check out fruitionseeds.com. Check out our microgreens blogs, as well as a free online course. And don't be shy. If you have other questions, send us an email, heather@fruitionseeds.com, and we'll take really good care of you. And know we look so forward. And Margie asks, "Hi, Petra Page Man." Hello, Margie. My veggie garden has been put to bed, and I'm in the process of turning in chopped fall leaves into the soil. Anything else would be good at this time to feed the soil with? Oh my gosh, yes. So, you're knocking it out of the park. Your deciduous leaves, especially if you put them through a chipper shredder or chop them otherwise, that's one of the best way that you can be feeding your soil. I also highly recommend, and we have on our website, we have a long-term, slow release, tons of micronutrients, this granular organic fertilizer that we put on our farm by the ton. And it has over 100 micronutrients in addition to really balanced macronutrients. We also have compost and compost crumbles on our website. So, and I think of anything that you can add in fall. Think of this beautiful thyme that we're about to put in our soup. And like when you're making broth, it's delicious generally day one. It's delicious. But day two, no comparison. Like, it's so much richer on day two, right? All of those flavors have time to marry and meld, and your soil is the same way. Anytime you can add nutrients in the fall, it just helps all of those nutrients to incorporate and be a part of a living, robust, matrix of life, which is your garden soil. So by the time spring comes and you're actually planting seeds and planting seedlings, everything is just there and integrated, ready to go. So yes, you're knocking it out of the park. If I was going to recommend one thing, it would be to add deciduous leaves sent through a chipper shredder in the fall. But second best, and also just do it additionally because you can, and it's going to nourish your soil for years and generations to come. Just anything on our website of that, the compost crumbles, and our granular fertilizer too. And Kimberly says we put rabbit manure in now too, and any ready compost, totally. So if you have ready compost and things like rabbit manure, most manures need to be composted before put straight on your soil, but rabbit manure, and I believe also alpaca. I should do a whole blog about what manures you can put on and when. But yes, we have compost that we love to share, but if you or anyone else has compost, now is the perfect time. So yes, I love that you're thinking about what you can do now to feed your soil and all generations of plants and humans yet to come. So friends, thank you so much for joining our live Q&A. I love hanging out here on Saturday mornings, and I'm so glad that you've joined me. And till next time, I can't wait. And I am wishing you abundance, sending love from our gardens to yours, especially in these harrowing times. I'm so grateful for these green leaves, even as the snow falls, to be surrounding us with so much abundance and so much tenacity, and reminding me of how it is possible to thrive even in the darkness, even in the cold. Oh, and one final note. Stu asks, work leaves into soil or just on top? You can do both. And working leaves into the soil helps them incorporate more quickly. But if that is in any way a limiting factor, know that this is the evolutionary genius of worms as well. Worms have evolved. They're kind of scuba divers, really. And they, live and they breathe under the water, or pardon me, under the soil, but they need to come up to the surface to poop and also to breathe more fully. And so worms are constantly diving down into the soil and then coming back up for breath and for life. And so when they come up to the soil, they chomp onto whatever organic matter they can find and bring it back down into the soil, because that just encourages all the bacteria that they're feeding on to proliferate and thrive that much more. So don't worry, if you're not working your leaves into the soil, your worms in your soil are doing this for you. So it speeds up the process anytime you can actually incorporate them into the soil. But if they're just on top, looking up at that beautiful hillside and all of those beautiful trees, that's exactly how all of those leaves are turning into soil as well. So anything goes. And friends, I'd love to end as we begin and begin as we end. What is beginning? What is ending? With a quote today from Robin Wall Kimmerer, the indigenous scientist and wonderful wise woman. This is really why I made my daughter's garden, so they would always have a mother to love them long after I am gone. Once more, this is really why I made my daughter's garden, so they would always have a mother to love them long after I am gone. And I have tears in my eyes. I love my mother so much, and I am so glad that she is with us in life in these present moments. And I'm so grateful that these seeds surround me with all of this love for all times to come, as they have for countless human generations and will for all generations of all species to come. And thank you for sharing the joy as well as the tears, as well as the connection with each other. All thanks to these beautiful plants that know how to heal us and feed us, even as they are healed and fed upon. So sending love to you all. I can't wait for next time, and don't be shy.